Hey, it's Mel from Rap Rankings. To hear the full episode this clip comes from and all of the other episodes, check the link in the description, stop by raprankings.com, or search Rap Rankings on your favorite podcast platform. And please consider liking, subscribing, and commenting to help us grow the channel and continue our journey as hip-hop's first and premier extreme podcast.
And we're back. Folks, we got a first time ever guest reviewer on this episode. And I would say that this is the man who has typed the album title, Marcberg, on the internet more than any other man. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. This is Elmatic.
What's up?
Elmatic, welcome to Rap Rankings.
Thank you, man. What's up? What's up?
Not much, you know, as I said, throughout the years, you know, following you on social media, a lot of engagement bait questions from people get answered with a one-word Marcberg tweet by you. I do believe you may have typed this album title out more times than Roc Marciano himself. So welcome.
Yeah, my phone autocorrects that. Any word that I start typing with the letter M, it's like, oh, you want to say Marshburn? But yeah, I started that just because I just thought there was too many, all those engagement questions people throw up there. What's better? You know, apples or not dying in Hiroshima? You're so stupid. I'm just going to start saying Marshburg to everything, you know? And yeah, it just became kind of a bit and keeps going. So I started Evergreen.
Well, the bit has landed you a guest spot on a Marcberg review, so, you know, it's paid dividends already.
Yeah. Definitely, you know.
And Mel, what are we here to do?
It doesn't detract from my love.
Well, we're here to review track 6, Snow, from Marcberg, all right, with our guest, who's a certified Marcberg enthusiast. But yeah, before we get into any of that, we don't want to have Elmatic in the dark here. So I'm gonna go through this rating system real quick. It's not complex at all. You know, I think it's pretty simple. You know, so I'll just run through this really quick. So yeah, the rating system is simple. Each song is rated on a scale of 1 to 10. These numbers do not reflect the quality of a song, as that is indeterminable. Instead, each number reflects a level of enjoyment. In short, here's what each number means. 10 means this is a perfect song to me, one of my favorite songs of all time. 9 means I love it. 8 means I like it a lot. 7 means I like it. 6 means it's all right. I don't dislike it, but I can't say that I like it. 5 means I feel practically nothing about this. 4 means it's not the worst thing I've ever heard, but I dislike it. 3 means I dislike it. 2 means I hate it. And 1 means I absolutely can't stand it. One of the worst things I've ever heard. Side note, you could add a plus or a minus to any of those numbers. The pluses and minuses have no mathematical or statistical value. They're merely indicators that mean one of two things. One, it's like saying a strong or light version of that number. So like 7 plus, strong 7, 9 minus, light 9. Second thing it indicates is that the rating could go up or down in the future. We have a segment on the show called I Was Fucking Tripping, when we, come back like, 6 months, 2 years. And it's like, you know what? I like this song more than I thought I did. Or maybe, I don't actually like the song anymore. So like when you see that 6 plus, it's like, this could go up in the future. That 7 minus, this could drop in the future. So that's it. That's the rating system. If that makes sense, we can proceed. Or I can go through it again if you want. This is no problem.
No, I got that.
All right, cool. Well, from here, we usually like to give our guests, the floor. If you want to rate the song first, you can do that. If you want us to go first, we can do that. However you want to do it.
Yeah, I mean, Snow is on like, when you're feeling bad about your life and you start planning your own funeral.
Oh, I do that all the time.
You start thinking about like, oh yeah, think about like, songs do you want to have played at your funeral? And yeah, I would probably put maybe like the instrumental of Snow on my funeral playlist. So out of 1 to 10, I'd say that makes it about a 94.
Okay, so Look at 9. That's a 9. Okay, you love it. Okay, all right. Cool.
No.
No, a
I said
94 out of
94.
100.
Oh, a 94.
He broke the
90,
scale.
it's a
He
90,
melted us,
94
Mel.
out of 94 out of 10.
Okay, all right. I was thinking like percentage. Okay.
No. It's 94 out of 10.
All right, so we got a
Great.
94 here from our guest. Out of
Well,
10.
I guess the closest thing to that would be a 10 then. All right. So
All right, if you're gonna round it down, that's cool.
We got Elmatic Meltzer in the building with the 94. Okay, this album must have gotten recorded in the Tokyo Dome or something.
Oh man. Well, Moulz, you want to go next?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm feeling like Mel now on these reviews. You know, usually when we have a guest on, the guests will give their rating. I'll give my rating. It's either going to be very close to the guest or a little under it. And then Mel, you know, the law of diminishing returns, you know, he's going to come up maybe with that 6+, maybe with that Mel 7-. You never know.
Oh, brother.
I'm giving this a flat 8. I'll talk about why in the review. Because there's another version of this song that I do rate a little higher.
I see. Okay. All right. Well, we got a 94 from Elmatic, 8 from Moulz. Listen, I like it. I mean, it's okay. 7+.
7+. Right. Okay, that's a real like from Mel. It's not the obligatory 7-.
Elmatic, don't listen to this guy. Okay.
All right. So 7 and 8 and 94 divided by 3. That's 36.
So we got a 36 average rating on this song out of 10.
Yeah.
Which makes it the highest rated song in the history of this show. No song will ever.
I think that's completely correct, man. Yeah, that's totally right. Yeah.
Oh my god.
That's about right.
So yeah, this is one of the songs on this album, though, that to me feels like, you know, we talk a little bit about in the background info, Reloaded, and you know what he's doing on there in terms of refining the production style. This is a song that sounds like it's already fully formed. We did another one just a little bit ago. It's a Crime. That's another one that, you know, to me, some of the records on this album already feel like the vision is fully fleshed out. And this is one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, he makes this huge in anything before, and I mean, anything kind of in this style of rap before that comes out. The whole album comes out fully formed, and it's totally cohesive all the way through, you know, musically and lyrically. So yeah, I totally agree with that.
I would like to just say, because you mentioned it earlier about like the instrumental you played at your funeral. That is a huge part of my enjoyment of this record. This is like a top 3 beat on the album to me.
Agreed.
Because you know how it comes in. I believe it's like bells. You know that.
Yeah, it's very kind of snow, winter, Christmas.
I said winter wonderland energy in my notes. Yeah. Right. And then those strings in the background.
Yeah,
and that's all
right. But that starts first, right?
Right.
It's like that fluttering noise. And to me, that sounds like pigeon wings.
Okay.
It sounds like it's snow. You know when it snows and the snow kind of absorbs sound, but it also reflects and it's more crisp sound. And so yeah, it kicks off with this kind of pigeon wing noise, right? And then there's that sort of very resonant, like metal on metal, that na 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 na. And to me, it sounds like a kid with a piece of pipe that he found, like banging on a fence as he goes down the street. Like he likes the sound of it, right? And then the drums come in, right? It's the third thing.
Yeah.
And they kind of fall down, right? And dum dum dum. And to me, that sounds like a dude in Tim's clomping through the snow.
I feel you. I feel you.
It's like the whole song sets up this kind of mental. To me, it's very resonant. Like it sparks this whole thing of like a snowy day in New York, and a dude is tromping off to hit the corner. And the lyrics, I mean, the lyrics on this they're not his best lyrics at all. They're kind of immaterial to this. They're kind of, you know, a little bit generic. because in this one though, I feel like it's his voice and his syllables that are the instrument.
Yeah.
So in some ways, like the whole thing is an instrument. There's no standout lyrics on this track.
I'll say this. I think it was perfectly solid lyrically. There are definitely songs from him where like I'm damn near losing my mind and jumping up and down and spinning around like a fucking.
But you get good like
Merry Melodies cartoon
kind of street raps on here,
right? Yeah, and I mean it fits that beat though, because we get this very elegant, snowy, sort of dreamy, and when those drums hit. All that elegant shit gets met with these rugged, cutthroat ass drums, and I feel like that's Roc Marciano in a nutshell to me. He's like
totally, yeah, completely.
like this
100%.
high life fly nigga, but will clap your shit at any time. This is just those two things in a balance. I was already in love at that point, but then the bass line came in and I'm like, oh yeah, listen, you gotta give me this beat. I'm taking this with me. This is one of them beats that you just gotta love. And yeah, he's talking that grimy shit on here and it works. There's a line though that stood out to me just because I feel like it's almost like he could read my mind. He's like, this beat here is good as meatloaf, better yet a pot roast. I'm glad he corrected that because I prefer pot roast over meatloaf. And yeah, I'm like, no, this beat is way better than fucking meatloaf. And I'm like, yeah, that's more like it, But
I like, let's give the man a hand. He used to go hand to hand by the gram, take a brick, grind it to sand. Baby girl, my 4-5 don't jam. Al Pacino with a tan. Come on, that shit's fly.
That's that shit. Yeah.
And he's doing thing. He does this thing with his lyrics where he kind of switches up the rhyme schemes, like in the middle of a verse or almost in the middle of a line. Like he kind of rolls syllables around like he's about to throw dice sometimes. And I think that's one of the things that makes him really unique. And then later on he starts just chopping it up so that it's almost like unrelated words but kind of make sense together. Like there's that line on a later record where he goes, I'm in the Sahara with Arabs too arrogant for Donna Karen. It's like he's just throwing together all this stuff and these different schemes at once. And so, yeah, he kind of does that on this joint, but he does it more sort of succinctly later on.
Right. Yeah, it's them classic Roc Marciano non sequiturs. Like the man will just say the most off the wall shit, but it sounds so hard. There's this quality to his raps for me. It's like when like my 4-5 don't jam. Mr. Big Stuff, get your shit touched. Whip the Benz truck, sipping juice from a pimp's cup. The thing about Roc Marciano is when he raps. There's this overused word like vivid, but I see the shit he raps immediately as soon as he raps it. Like when he says things like my 45 don't jam, it's like realistically, I mean, machines malfunction all the time, but I believe him when he says it. He's like a superhero in his raps to me. It's a Saturday morning cartoon, The Adventures of Roc Marciano, and his 45 don't jam in any episode. Like that's a constant. It's a part of.
To me, like as an MC, he hits certain levels of like language, playing with words and stuff like that. That again, we talked about him earlier. Doom was the last person to really give me that to this extent, where it's like nonstop. It's really like one after another, after another, after another. Drought 3 era Wayne,
Yeah. Right. It's like they rap in such a way, they make it so easy to buy into like the myth making. It's like everything he's selling, I'm buying because he just sounds so great. It's like,
yeah, he has this complete and total authority in his delivery, right?
Yes.
It's like, it's like, he's funny sometimes, he's hilarious.
Oh, for
and
sure.
Sometimes he's really cold, but it's always that kind of deadpan, cold, pimp ass voice. But it's that complete and total authority, right? And he is doing like you said with Doom, the superhero thing. It's like that because he's taking he's building this is like this like every city. It's every city between 1970 and 2010, and he sort of stylized it and reduced it to its sort of these ritual aspects of it and cut it way down. So it's like a kabuki play, put on by Mobb Deep. And he's taking it to this other level where it's like myth and legend, it's like this gangster Gilgamesh thing happening. And I think that's part of what he does that makes him kind of superior to a lot of other dudes in the same vein,
Right.
where, yeah, they're G's, whatever, they're balling, they're fly, but they're not on that kind of epic level.
Yeah.
That he's doing.
Doom had,
he's doing
all those comic book
Doom did that.
and cartoon references and stuff like that he pulls from. Roc is more like a Donald Goines, Iceberg Slim. That's kind of the lane I see him in, is like, one of these great black authors of, black fiction.
Blaxploitation style.
Yes.
Yeah, like he is totally like that, but it's the compression and the cutting stuff out. So it's like Basho, who was the greatest haiku poet, translating a Donald Goines novel into traditional Japanese.
This is why
haikus.
we brought Elmatic on the show, folks.
He's spitting right now.
Because
he's spitting for sure.
He's all about that, like, and that as he goes on, like, he does this more and more, but he already starts it. Because if you go back to, like, what's that 2004 joint, Strength and Honor, it's interesting to listen to because he's kind of rushing himself. He's kind of riding on the beats that aren't that great. He's writing whole lines, whole sentences. And then even on Marcberg, he starts compressing and he starts stripping out what is not necessary, to the point where later on, I think it's on Mount Marcy, he drops this, he just goes, yayo, Scott Baio. That's it.
Right, like the reduction, of things, but it makes it
reduction.
more potent. It's like drugs.
Exactly. That's why it stands out.
Like, you cut the fucking filler out, and it gets right to the fucking vein. It's like
exactly.
Yeah.
It's like, remember in Goodfellas when they're cutting the garlic,
very thin
with the razor blade.
Yeah, I'll never forget.
It's like that. Yeah, he's doing that. So like that painter Mondrian, you've seen him. It's like white with black lines, and there'll be like yellow, blue, and red squares. And I didn't really get it. And I saw this book of his stuff once. He started out painting normal paintings, like church stuff like that. Then he just started taking stuff out. Start taking out curves, start taking out elements, start taking out colors. How much could you take out and still have the essence of the thing? Right. And that's what Marcy does to me. He's boiling it all the way down to the very essence.
Hey man, you're this is getting poetic. I mean, this description of Roc Marciano is like, yeah, I'm agreeing, I'm feeling it. Like, all of that comes together to mold him into this larger than life character, because the more you reduce, it's crazy because he's so descriptive, but yet when you reduce, you leave more to the imagination, and it makes him that much bigger. It's like, like, that's all he said. He's just like, yo, this nigga just like, that's, like Scott Baio, word? Like, it's like, right. I mean, it's shit on.
He's not like what I think people, when they're not that well versed in his music, but they hear all the chatter, they think he's kind of like a golden era, old school throwback rapper. But he's taken a lot of interesting left turns in his career. Just, I think about some of the more off-kilter records that he's done as of late. The Kool Keith record that he did, I think that was on Murcielago.
Yeah, well, what was that? That was like, oh yeah,
Broadway
Kool
Billy
Keith came over.
Something like that.
Yeah, that was weird. It was like, oh yeah, Kool Keith came over, and he had the sheet of acid he found in the freezer. It's probably still good. Let's just eat it and do a track together. I was like, what is even happening right now, man?
So you get stuff like that. You get like, I Just Hit a Lick off the Muggs album, for example. He's less of a staunch traditionalist, I think, as people think of him sometimes if they're not that well versed in his music. And even down to, you know, this album, what he's doing with language is something that, you know, is very rare in any, you know, underground, mainstream. You don't get very many people who have such a way with words.
It's a shame.
Nah,
but it's true.
he's a great writer, and I think like there's a lot more going on there than people think. You know, like I said, like the way he changes up the rhyme schemes all the time. Yeah, I don't really. I mean, people think he's like a old school, a golden age guy because why? Because
He's, you know,
because he's not modern. He's not talking about what, Instagram. I mean, what does that mean?
I think because, you know, the sound that he traffics in is generally considered like, oh, this is underground rap, this is dusty, whatever have you. And for people who aren't very well versed in his music, he's just, you know, to them, like another kind of traditionalist rapper that the boom bap heads listen to.
Oh, right, because he doesn't do like club songs.
Right.
He doesn't do singles. He doesn't do anything that you could play in the strip club. Which, yeah, okay. I mean, sure.
Hey, that Pimpin' Ain't Easy that we played from Strength and Honor, I think you could get that by in the strip club.
Well, you know, go and try it out, man. Take it on a thumb drive and slip it to the DJ with $100 and say, you know, I want to hear this, man.
Look, an underground rap strip club might be crazy. It might work, and we just don't know it yet because everyone's, you know, they're so focused on playing the club records, you know, the strip club records and whatnot, that
you can play Run the Jewels in a strip club.
Oh God, that would be dreadful.
Listen, we did a Run the Jewels review. What was it, season 11? Yeah, I don't want to hear them outside the strip club. Especially, I don't want to hear them in the strip club. But that's just my personal taste. You know? Unless they're playing that, what's the joint? Live from the Garden. Okay, that should get me hyped.
Call Ticketron.
Yeah, play Call Ticketron in the club. All right, and let them strip. I want to see titties and ass to Call Ticketron. All right, but any other record, I'm good. But
I don't not all right. Definitely not the joints that they do. Guy from Rage Against the Machine, like that is not.
Scott De La Roca.
That's not what's popping. That's not popping.
It's not what's popping for sure.
No, you say Scott De La Roca?
Is that what I said? Yeah, that's what I said.
We can move on.
All right, is this a Mel ain't rap moment? Hold on, wait a minute.
It's like the.
I don't know if
Scott Baio, man.
I mean, he kind of raps, but I don't know if we could consider Rage Against the Machine to be rap. It's Zach De La Roca.
What'd I say?
Yeah,
Scott.
Oh, I was thinking of Scott LaRock.
Oh, yeah, it's not the same guy.
Oh shit. My bad. All right, I tried. I fucking tried. Listen, this happens all the time, Elmatic. As a matter of fact, there's a line in this song again where I felt like Roc was speaking to me specifically. Obviously, he wasn't because this album is years and years old. But he said, "We still repping the East Coast, reaching for toast like TV remotes, spray cans where graffiti is wrote." There's a story that's been told on this show and has been referenced countless times. When I was like 7 or 8 years old, my dad and I went to New York to watch a WNBA game, the Liberty. And it was my first time in New York, and we drove in, and like I was scared because there was graffiti everywhere. I could see outside the window, and I watched a documentary on like, it was like A&E or something where they were talking about, oh, graffiti is how gangs mark their territory. So I thought like gangs were nearby because I saw graffiti. So I ducked down in the chair in the car because I was scared of being spotted by the gangs. Like I felt like they'd be like, oh, get that little nigga, he you know. But like, so spray cans where graffiti is wrote, I'm like, oh, the gangs, right? And so I felt like
no gangs.
Yeah, most likely no, it's street
hilarious.
artists. Yeah, but you know, my hip hop credentials have been called into question countless times on this program, but you know.
Because the song, this joint like reminds me of when I lived in the mid-90s. I lived on Lower East Side in these crappy apartments, and that neighborhood was completely run by drug dealers, and they were out. Man, they were always out. Christmas Eve, Christmas, New Year's, Ramadan, Yom Kippur,
Mm.
rain, hail, snow. They were always out, and there was no that neighborhood because anything that was going to mess with their business was not happening. You didn't get mugged. Nobody's house got broken into. It was all about their business. And yeah, it makes me think of that. They used to shoot a lot of, there's a vacant lot. They used to shoot a lot of those Law and Order scenes where they find the body there.
Oh, yeah.
They'd be walking by and be like, oh, snap, somebody got shot. And then you'd see like Jerry Orbach and the cameras would be like, oh, no, they're just doing that dun dun over there.
Right.
Yeah, and there was this one, I remember walking home once, this walking by this dealer, and he goes, man, you never buy from me.
Oh, that's money.
Like, well, what? Like, should I apologize? Like, should I stop? And like, what am I supposed to do here, man?
Hey, I mean, it fits how it would tie into this record. I mean, the chorus, we used to play the corner for dough, rain, hail, snow.
Sleet, yeah, snow.
Yeah.
And occasionally there's somebody like, you never buy from me. That's great.
That would have added to the realism and the immersion if they would have just put that in the background somewhere during the chorus.
Style, yeah. In the back. That would have been great. Yeah. I mean, speaking of that, I really like this chorus. Like you talk about how like he becomes, the way he's rapping is an instrument in itself. I love the spacing and the cadence in that chorus. It's like this air of anticipation, rain, hail, snow. Like I got a nod on each beat,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not one, that's 3 lines.
Right.
One word per line.
Exactly. So I mean, he has chorus. This. Yeah, he has this way about him. I mean, it's just, he has this mastery of cadence, this mastery of presence. Obviously produced this. I think he's a great producer. It's like, and I'll just be fascinated by lines like, I appear like a genie in smoke. I'm just like, that shit's fucking great. like you have to picture Roc Marciano like spewing out of a genie lamp and just like that's fucking great with like sunglasses on and like arms crossed, like what you want, nigga. It's like that is why I listen to Roc Marciano. The images like that.
And back to the production, Mel. There's a reason he's kicking off this producer rapper season. Okay. Although the quote unquote drumless sound was very influential, don't try to play him like he can't program drums.
Right.
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
These drums make your fucking neck snap. For sure.
Yeah. Particularly on this joint.
Yeah, absolutely.
The drums on this joint they just snap. There's no doubt.
It's
I mean, I think it's like also, he kind of pairs with Ka as another producer rapper who, I don't know if you guys are gonna cover Ka, but that's like a 10-day episode, man. But they're doing
Mel,
they're doing like the same thing,
we're
right?
Gonna be covering. We haven't done him yet on the show. We're gonna be covering him not too long from now.
Let me check the schedule here. Let me see. I mean, that's a guy Moulz and I both enjoy quite a bit. So yeah, we've been looking forward.
We were just talking in the run up to the review itself. Someone called in our hotline. They were talking about who's got the best pen. He's like the second name that comes to mind for me.
Yeah,
Yeah, no doubt.
What is it? Season 16?
Yeah,
Days with Dr. Yinlo.
Days with Dr. Yinlo. Another reveal from
nice
the seasons.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. I mean, I think that's my favorite Ka record, to be honest.
Yinlo.
Even though he's working with Preservation on that one instead of doing his own beats, that record really, I think, kind of comes together. I think Preservation is really good at that, just the way, like, kind of feeling an artist's vision and really doing something unique and cohesive around that, which is the same thing he did with Woods for Ethiops. And yeah, I mean, to me, Yenlo is definitely the best because he and Marcy are doing kind of the same thing, right? Very stripped down, just sort of pure essence, and it's just very immaculate,
Yeah.
very carefully arranged, and very curated. As like they're like two brothers, right? They're two guys who are the veterans. They've been through it all. They're like 1,000-yard stares, weighted down with years pain. But Ka is a guy who feels regret for what's happened and what he's done. Whereas Marcy, like, there is, a certain level of mourning, like Thug's Prayer, other joints like that. But he's ice cold. Like, he's soul to soul. It's 1,000 angels dancing on the head of a pimp. But otherwise, like, they're two sides of the same thing, in so many ways.
That description reminds me of like towards the end of The Irishman, where De Niro and Joe Pesci's character are in like jail, and like clearly like De Niro's feeling some regret, and he's mournful over the events that took place over their lives, but Joe Pesci's just like fuck him. Like Roc Marciano is Pesci, and maybe Ka's De Niro.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
like,
well, with Ka, like, the first album I ever heard from him was Grief Pedigree, and I was blown away by that album, but I got the sense from it that, like, him and Marcy were very much two sides of the same coin, and I think that even continues a little bit on Knight's Gambit, although that's a little more, I would say, like, conceptual than your average Roc Marciano project. By Yen Lo, I think they're different enough to stand on their own as well as completely separate entities.
Oh yeah, totally.
And now they're
not the same.
Descendants of Cain and Orpheus versus the Sirens, and Ka is like biblical. He's like
right.
He's like going deep into mythology and all of that kind of stuff. And I think Roc is still very grounded, so to speak, within this kind of Blaxploitation world that he's built for himself.
Right.
Yeah, no doubt. Actually, you know what it's like? Remember on The Wire, and there's, what's that guy's name? Brother Mozone?
Moulz
Like yeah, and then he kind of, doesn't he kind of team up with Omar?
Mm-hmm.
So that's like Ka and Marcy.
He's, he's the more conscious of the two, if you will.
Right. Right.
Conscious is a kind of a dirty word these days. I think it's more that like he has a lot more. He has more regrets than Marcy.
Yeah, there's some awareness. It's like if Roc Marciano's concerned with like worldly pleasures rather, and are still sort of living that life, Ka is the guy who's questioning its consequences and effects.
Right, and kind of sorting through the scraps of all of it.
Right. I mean, I love them both.
I do too. I do think that they're maybe the two most essential rap artists of the last 10 or 15 years.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I think I would have to put Woods and Elucid in there, but otherwise I wouldn't disagree with that at all.
Shout out to Armand Hammer.
And make it a Rushmore. Yeah. Ka, Roc Marciano, Billy Woods, and Elucid. The essential mountain, Mount Essential. There we go. Yeah, I mean, it's just there's so much to enjoy in a Roc Marciano song. It's like I've already quoted like a bunch of things, but even maybe like my favorite sequence of the song, it's not like a crazy like line, but it's just like, he says, maybe it's just my radiant flesh or the baby tech that wet up a gray GS. Yes, place your bets till I get to taste success. Rappers to me are just a waste of breath.
Yeah.
It's just that cool dismissal of like competition, and like your flesh is radiant. Like, is this nigga the god? Like, it's like you gotta love that.
Well, no, the god was on Rap Express, Mel.
Oh, brother, nice. Okay. Elmatic, we did the God Fahim earlier on in this episode for like our Rap Express segment.
Oh,
yeah, but
okay, yeah. He's like one of 3 people that blocked me on Twitter.
No
Oh,
way.
shit.
He blocked you?
Yeah, Fahim and Westside Gun blocked me, and obviously Drew blocked me because he blocks everybody,
oh.
and Sage Francis blocked me.
Oh, that's a
And
good
I
thing.
I don't know why.
Honestly,
I would argue Westside Gun blocking you is a good thing too, but hey.
It's it's fine. I don't think it's probably
It's a good thing and a bad
I used to
thing.
talk a lot of noise about the like what is with the whole
Hitler fetish.
$777 record thing.
Oh, okay. The expensive physical copies.
Mm.
No, but Fahim was putting out digital stuff on Bandcamp that was like $444 or whatever. For real. It wasn't physicals. It was to buy the MP3s off of Bandcamp. They were like $400. And so I snapped on him a bit about that. Yeah. Yeah. Fahim is the opposite of Marcy in that, I mean, how many records has he put out this year? I don't even keep track.
I think 3 EPs
620?
and like 4. Yeah, exactly. He's just nonstop.
Dump God, yeah.
Yeah.
Rock is.
So there's
there's a lot of.
There's no curation.
We were just talking about in the background info that weight between Reloaded and Rosebud's Revenge, even though we did get Pimpire, which is like a mixtape or street album, like that weight in particular, when really all we had to focus on were, this album and Reloaded. And you really got to sit and live with those albums. And even now that Rock has started putting out more music, you still don't get like ever more than like 2 a year from him now.
All right.
Yeah, that's true. But there was this period, and actually, that's kind of some of my favorite joints from after Marcberg and until about, I don't know, 2016, where he did so many guest spots.
Yeah.
He was jumping on everybody's stuff, and some of those are some of my favorite joints. So like, I used to go around and collect them up.
I actually got to shout out Ivan at Hip Hop is Red. He used to compile all of them every year into a set. And sometimes it was like 80 features or something. Like, it was a lot.
Yep. And he would hit me up and say, like, what am I missing? Because I used to try to keep track of them on SoundCloud. Mm-hmm. And so, he was cranking those out. And he was doing like 80, 50, 100 of those joints a year for a good 6 years. And to me, boiling those down to the best, I don't know, it's probably like 100. That's to me some of his best stuff,
By the way, at $8,000 a feature for the record, and I don't know if that's gone up since.
Wow.
Can I just say, while I'm
Back
glad
then?
you brought that up, because on the subject, I'm still thinking about them, the guns and the Fahims and such charging like $400. Anybody buying that, this drop is for you. Suckers!
Hit that MJF as well.
Oh, yeah. You're a sucker, all right, and you're definitely also a mark. So, listen. I mean, if you got the money, you got the money, sure, but I'm still going to look at you and we're going to say, you fucking mark! Okay? Ridiculous. But anyway.
Look.
I
support
the
artists that I listen to. Like, even when Rock drops his albums early and it's $20 for the digital version, I've done that several times.
Marcialego, I think, was 40.
40. I might have done it. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I might have done it because it goes directly to him, and I have that level of respect for him. But most artists, I'll go on their Bandcamp, I'll buy their shit. They have a CD, I'll buy it. Like, I do like to support artists that I like so that they keep making music. I think that regardless of what you think of the music, if you want to see it continue, you have to support these artists. I can't support you.
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
$77 for a digital copy of his 5-song EP. It's just not feasible for me.
All right.
If you charge regular prices for your music, I will buy it.
Yeah, no doubt. I'm the same. And also, like, I kind of want to hear it first. So with Fahim, a lot of times it would be like, it's $222 and you cannot hear any of it until you pay $222. I respect the hustle. And yeah, I will support every artist with as much money as I can. But, you know,
Within
I'm not
reason.
Roc Marciano. I don't charge 8 grand for a verse.
And hell, I mean, Kai used to go out with CDs and they were what, $20? And you'd meet him somewhere
Yep.
for them?
Yep. And I think he still posts them out himself.
Yeah, he's still handling all the shipping of his own stuff. I don't know if he does the
Yep.
I'll be at this location at this time with the CDs anymore.
I don't think he does that anymore. I don't think he does that.
But it's
But he posts them all out,
it's a interesting time, I would say, for the industry, because a lot of these artists, like, they might be sustaining themselves off of like 10 or 15 super fans that will buy everything that they put out.
Right. I mean, hey, if they got it like that, great. You know?
That's why Mel and I would like to announce we will be dropping $700 podcasts soon. They will be specially priced podcasts for our biggest fans. They will be in anywhere between $500 to $700, and you'll be able to buy them a la carte.
It sounds like a really solid business model.
This is my first time hearing of this. So,
you didn't hear about this? Listen, this is what you get for sleeping through our meetings.
Oh, brother. Okay. Yeah, listen, we never do that. All we got is our Patreon, $4.99. It's great. All right, you get the most value of any Patreon ever. All right, ain't no $700.
Yeah, $499. That sounds
exactly.
Good.
$500 is just it's the sticker shock of seeing that $5.
Yeah, man,
when you just hit them with the $4.99.
I can't go to 500. Yeah, I can't go to 500, but I could do $4.99. Yeah, for real.
Man. Oh, brother.
I just wanted to ask before we wrap things up here, what was your background with this album? Like, how did you come across it? Like, what's your story with this album? Everyone has, personal experience they could speak to, I guess. But
I mean, I'm upfront about it. Like when it I didn't check it because honestly, like I saw the cover and I just thought it was some more generic G stuff. I was like, I don't need to listen to that. People were talking about it and saying it was good. So I didn't cop onto it for about a year. I was at least a year late to it. And
no shame in that.
I don't remember why I finally checked it. I think it was maybe Uncommon was like, no, you really have to check it out.
Oh,
and
that's the homie.
Somebody
by the
like,
way.
cool. Yeah, I'm not really in touch with him. I used to chop it up with him on Twitter a lot when he was on Twitter. And so, so I finally did check it, and it was one of those conversion moments, It's like Saul on the road to Damascus. I was converted.
You know about that Saul, Mel?
Saul?
On the road to Damascus? Isn't that what you learned in Sunday school?
Man, I think that Saul was his name.
He becomes St. Paul.
Yeah. See, Saul is Paul. I mean, I know
Saul is Paul.
Yeah, it's a whole thing.
So Nick Fury is a scroll.
It's. Oh my God.
I just need to be clear on this.
Oh, I was like the deals with the Bible is all those Jews, all the disciples. Once they become disciples, they get rap names.
Right?
It's like Wu-Tang. It's like the forming of the Wu-Tang Clan.
Okay, so Saul is.
You're not Saul anymore.
Right, Saul. He's
you're SZA. You're Pizza, man. You're Paul now.
Yeah, that is how it works. But Moulz, I'll hit your drop because I understand why you don't know this.
By the way, I'm Jewish.
Okay, so that's fair. That's fair. Yeah. I never heard of it. So is it Saul of Damascus? You said?
Yeah, Damascus moment. Like a big conversion.
Okay. Well,
this motherfucker was not paying. He was playing with Yu-Gi-Oh cards when
it's Yu-Gi-Oh. First of all, it's Nick Fury. Okay, number one. Number two, it's Yu-Gi-Oh. All right. Don't get me started. Oh, brother. It's a trap because he knows that if I clarify, I'm gonna look like more of a dork. And I know what this is. All right, I'm on
yeah,
to
man,
you.
back away. Back away. Yeah. Don't fall for it.
Yeah. Anyway, Moulz, I see a piece of audio here.
Yeah, we did bring in the Snow remix, which we're covering the standard version of the album today. So we're not going to be able to review this, but I do prefer the Snow remix. Just a teensy bit more, 8+ probably.
Okay. Well,
you mean the one just with Sean Price's verse?
Yes.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, it's amazing. And then there was definitely, in fact, people did some remixes of it, and Uncommon NASA did a really good remix. Really, really great.
I'll get my hands on it before we move on to the next song, and we can play that too. Actually, send myself a reminder right now. But yeah, we got the Snow remix here. Let's hear Sean Price.
Who you been around, nigga? Chain snatcher, mighty go motherfuckers. Alejandro. Bird. Roc Marciano, what's good? Brownsville in the building. Sean Nice. Yo, they call me Sean the Scared harming ya. Fuck that, they call me Sean the Scared alarming ya. Sean the Vet warning ya. Sean the grab the crumbs and bomb medulla oblongata. Now the nigga that you know flow is ill the word to mama. I'm in a whole different space, call it Andromeda. Battlestar Galactic with the ratchet Abu Lama. Understand, nigga, the flow ill. You should know by now, nigga, Angela Bofield. No jerk, I blow perp. Captain America logo in front of the low shirt. You can't sell drugs with no work. Manicured fingernail, niggas did no dirt. Nigga, respect my conglomerate. Before I run to your crib, some tech to your mama shit. Time for change, get the fuck off Obama dick. P for president, nigga, I know a lot of shit.
Just a consumer,
fuck out
one Ruger, son's a shooter, none truer, the bum chewer. Lines and hooks, real in tuna. Shines a book, lives are took, we die sooner. Y'all manure, why try tutor? Put knives through ya. We got guys from Rooter to Tutor. That's dry humor, we don't buy Puma or drive Cougars, but my tool's the size of a tuba.
Okay. I mean, here's the thing, man. Sean Price is that dude.
I miss Sean Price.
Yeah, I
miss that guy.
For sure. Rest in peace.
Yeah, respect my conglomerate.
We always talk on the show about Sean Price's humor. I mean, for me, if the original Snow, I mean, this could go up from a 7+ to an A- one day. That would make the remix possibly on equal footing, because that might be an A- for me, just off first listen, just hearing that Sean Price verse. That humor, like we were just talking earlier about like Roc Marciano's humor, like just the beginning of this song is funny to me because it's again like that deadpan. Oh shit! Look outside, son. You see that? Damn, son, it's coming down, right? Right. The song is called Snow, and it's just like picturing him actually commenting. Like it's just very funny to me. I was reminded of that hearing Sean Price rap. Just funny guys. They're funny guys. Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna take that with me. That Snow remix. I need that. Adding that to the big archive here. But yeah.
We'll play the other bonus tracks later on. We get to the outro.
Word. Well,
and yeah, hopefully I can track down this NASA remix and I can play it before we move to the next song. But Elmatic, it has been a pleasure having you on with us. The floor is yours. If you want to plug anything or tell people where they can find you, now's the time.
Yeah. I mean, I'm on the Twitter, and I have a Medium where I write a whole bunch of stuff, kind of like this. Write about records. I've written some stuff on there about other dudes. A lot of stuff about Woods. That's elmatic.medium.com, I guess. So I don't really like plug stuff. I do this much. But yeah, thanks for having me on, guys.
Hey, thank
And
you.
if you want to chop it up about COD, just hit me up.
We would love to, actually. So, hey, maybe in season 16, when we do Yen Lo, we'll have you on again.
Yeah, man, hit me up.
For sure.
Definitely.
Just stick around with us for a sec while we get your audio. And thanks for coming on Rap Rankings.
Thanks for having me. Peace.
Hey, it's Mel from Rap Rankings. To hear the full episode this clip comes from and all of the other episodes, check the link in the description, stop by raprankings.com, or search Rap Rankings on your favorite podcast platform. And please consider liking, subscribing, and commenting to help us grow the channel and continue our journey as hip-hop's first and premier extreme podcast.